Well, it's October 17th, and I thought maybe we'd have frost this morning, but we didn't. But we will have a freeze tonight, and it is the first freeze or frost we have had all fall, which is so unusual for us. I'm at the main house on the patio, and it rained yesterday, day before, so as I usually do, I catch rain in the buckets, which I can't do once it starts freezing hard enough to freeze solid, but that'll go out in the greenhouse today to give it a little boost in this chill. You can see all the decorations and tables. Those are all in for the winter, stored inside or someplace they won't freeze. But a lot of the stuff is down in the beds. There's quite a bit of things I'm leaving in the beds for additional biomass. There will be a lot of leaves that come down, but it's really good for anything that's here to go back on the ground because it takes up the nutrients out of the ground as it grows through the season. And if you do chop and drop, or like I like to call it clip and drop, and put it back on the beds, it returns the nutrients back into the soil. So there'll be a nice layer of biomass, and then the leaves will come down and add to that, and plus the thickness of the mulch on the beds is really good too. Helps hold the moisture in and protect anybody that's got tender roots. I'm going to walk over to the little house first. The blackberry is all trimmed back for next year. It looks really naked over here with the old canes all cut out. I didn't need to keep any of them for supports because of the new arbor, but those will be great for next year, all ready to go. Anything that's still blooming that will make it through, I've left, or that I think the seeds will be desired by birds. Those are here. There's still just a few little asters blooming and Judy flowers, but the Rudbeckia daisies are still going strong. I picked all of the nasturtiums, my roses, and hollyhocks that were in bloom, because tonight those will all freeze, and so I brought them in to make bouquets out of them. But there's a lot of stuff that's still standing out here that will come down and mulch down or be good seed food for birds. I left a lot of the seeds on the oregano here, and I didn't want to take anything off that had flowers because the bees were still coming to them when the bees were still running around, flying around. Sorry, bees don't run around. But I'm leaving the seeds on those. Probably regret it as they come up in the path later. But anyway, there is quite a bit of stuff still standing, and I'm going to leave it. Let's see. Had to do some deck repair. The raccoons got into the channel under the deck. There's a little spot on the corner over there where they can kind of go around by the rocks and knock the rocks in. And they tore holes in the liner under the deck. So we had a problem with the pond leaking. Tom took the upper boards off the deck and pulled up the dock, which was all dry rotted, so the whole dock had to be replaced, and repaired the liner. Thank goodness that happened and was discovered, and we were able to repair it before now, because now the glue wouldn't dry in time. But then we put a face piece across the front of the deck, so there's no way for them to scoot around underneath there and do any damage to the liner or get underneath the deck anymore or anything. I like the original openness, but I still like how that looks. So that was our fix for that. And here's the new dock. It's nice and sturdy, and everything is all repaired around the pond. Going into winter, that'll be great. I haven't checked the temperature in the pond yet, but I think it's too cold to feed the fish. Once the water temperature goes down to 50, the fish cannot digest food, and so, because they don't have stomachs, and so it'll rot in their digestive tract. So they will be eating off whatever is in the pond, algae, little things in there, if they're up to eating, that won't do that in their systems. And if it warms back up and stays warm for a day or something, a couple days, then we'll feed them again. But it may have been that they're done eating. But anyway, the grape is starting to turn yellow. Up in the sunlight, the little maple there is getting some good color, but boy, the birch tree is really pretty this year, and it'll all of a sudden all of its leaves will be on the ground, but it's really pretty. And the pear is starting to get some little red tips, so we're getting some fall color as we head into fall. And the Virginia creeper has pretty much lost all of its leaves. The starlings have been working away on the berries, so they've got it pretty well cleaned up. The sunburst locust is turning yellow as well. I did cut back the lavender over here, and this section here used to be quite a bit taller, about twice as tall as that at least, but the shape was kind of strange. Ever since our little glacier, like I like to call it, was on here, it really damaged a lot of it and suffocated it. So I've been trying to keep it more compact, make it stronger, and so I really trimmed it hard, really trimmed it back this year, and I'm anxious to see how that looks in the next summer, see how things come back on that. And we never know. We don't know how much snow we'll get this year, so we don't know if we'll have another glacier over here or not. Tom's gathering kale and then he'll head over to the pond and get some watercress. Probably our last night for watercress to add to our scrambled eggs this morning. Watercress, even though the roots are fine, and this will come back next year, it will not stand up to the freeze, and it will be knocked all the way back after tonight, because I think it's supposed to be 25. But as you can see, it is definitely fall, and things are slowing down or stopping or getting ready for that change. We did get a really nice bowl full of filberts this year. I didn't think we were going to have any, so we were thrilled that we have those. And like I showed in a previous video, their little catkins are just loaded with their little catkins. So we'll see if next year the flowers can make it in our tough spring, and then we'll have more. Over here in this area, if they had enough time, this little feverfew wants to do a second show, but I don't think it'll have time. I don't think it'll make it through tonight. But still some Judy flowers, a little crazy Lychnis over there, the little red guy. He was thinking he needed to put on a second show. And there are some apples up in the apple tree. I'll pick some of them, but a lot of them we leave for the birds. It's great food for the starlings and the robins inside the yard, and out in the alley we leave the ones on the ground because the deer are coming and eating them. And we have had a lot of deer this year, a lot this fall especially. I picked all the tomatoes that were at a size that they would get ripe. These are way too tiny, they won't do anything. And then when this is frozen, if we get a nice sunny afternoon, I'll come out and clip all this up and put it back down on the barrel for mulch. But I don't pull these up because it's really good to not disturb the soil, by pulling up the roots. So I'll cut the plants off at the base, clip them up, and put them back down for mulch on the barrels, and leave the roots to decay and to nurture the soil underneath and any little beings that are down there that need it. In my little asparagus barrel, the nasturtiums were really pretty in here, but like I said, I picked all the flowers already, so there are no flowers. And this tomato, he produced a lot, even though his foliage was pretty yellow late in the game. The grape is turning here, and the little apricot is starting to turn. I imagine that a lot of things will be all done after tonight, but just walking through and taking a little look at stuff. Oh, and we harvested our little broccolis that were here. The plants are still gorgeous. They'd probably love to give us more broccoli if they had more time. There's a little pawpaw turning. Anyway, put a lot of stuff in the greenhouse to winter over. It won't keep it from going through winter and, you know, losing leaves or dying back, but definitely keep it better protected than just being outside. And I moved some planters in here that couldn't stay on the patio because of the sunroom project, so they're living out here now. But there's quite a few plants in the boxes and in pots to transition over. Crazy grapes. I keep getting grapes that come up in here. They don't really do well in here, but they come up in here. And the little water feature that's got a marsh marigold and some cattails from the pond that we had to remove when we were working on it, but I'm hoping they'll grow in here. That would be really good for filtration too. Lots of little guys out here. So, and then I put a pot in here that was out here in the fairy woods to winter it over. And those are some little trees that I potted up. So they're in here too, but it's going to be pretty quiet and tucked in the greenhouse. The sun is coming through, so the light's going to be strange out here, but all the red in the flower beds or reddish color from leaves turning, those are Virginia creepers that have popped up in here. And a lot of times we just leave those, but I cut the traily tendrils off so that they don't get carried away in here. But they're nice. The foliage is really attractive out on the edge of the beds, whether it's green or whether it's, you know, turning. It's kind of nice, so we leave that a lot of times. But anyway, the yard is starting to change for fall, but I wanted to do a video today because when we get a freeze, everything is so affected by that. You know, everything will turn and die and drop, and it won't be the same as wandering around late in the fall. And here's the portal bed. This has the honeysuckle that went up on the arbor that was for the kiwis. There is still one hardy kiwi. I need to look on my diagram to see if it was a male or female. I'd like to replace the other one. And then we have the jostaberry. There's a ribes on the other far side of the jostaberry in the front of the bed. And then this is the golden delicious apple, and the apples have been very yummy. And I cut a path around so I could get around the bed and cut some things down and make sure I got things weeded. But yeah, the peony that's there and the peony that's here, I don't like to take those down if they're still growing and green. If they get powdery mildew, I usually take them down, but these ones didn't this year, so they're still standing, and they'll remain until spring, and then I'll cut them up and just do chop and drop with them. They'll go right back down on the ground where they are. And that's really important, is returning nutrients to the ground, protecting the ground, not exposing it for many reasons. If ground is exposed, soil is exposed, I've said this before, but you know, things die in it. All the things that make it healthy soil die, and then it's just dirt. But leaving things down, that helps the insect population, all the little beings that need that for food and for cover, and also for birds that come in to feed on those insects. And it helps hold the water in, and we never know what kind of water year we're going to have, so we have to prepare for that. Here's a tendril of my hardy kiwi right here, mingled in with the honeysuckle. And So you can see those bigger leaves there. He's trying to get up above the honeysuckle. So when he does, he'll probably get a lot happier. So just panning back around through the yard, and actually I'm excited for this time of year. It was a very hot summer, a very late end of the season, and for me, working outside all the time and being very concerned about making sure that I have water where water needs to go, to keep things alive, it's a lot of work. And I'm usually really tired and ready for the end of the season, and I really am this year. I'm really grateful for the rain that we had, to not have to worry about making sure that some spot is watered is really a relief. That's really, really true for me. So anyway, let's see if we can get over here and get a better shot of the deck and pond. And yeah, the table and chairs and everything on the deck, those all go in. And the geraniums are in and safe. Everything that lives outside for the summer goes back in, that's in pots like that. And my hope is some of them can live in the sunroom and won't have to go back in the little house to winter. But anyway, here we are. I can't believe it really is finally officially fall if you look around the yard. And no frost or freeze until tonight. Just crazy. Oh, I don't know if you can see that little white-crowned sparrow on the... Oh, yep, down he goes. And the apples that are down on the ground, those are here for the starlings and the robins to work on. Happy fall.